The film begins with what seems like a charming romantic slice of life. Iris is gently pushing a grocery cart through the aisles of a supermarket, pausing to inspect peaches. That's when a young man approaches her. His name is Josh. He's friendly, confident and easygoing. He makes casual small talk and formally introduces himself. Weeks pass, and Iris and Josh, now together, sit side by side in his car, driving through winding roads toward a lakeside cabin. They're officially a couple now, and Josh wants her to meet his friends. He seems excited, almost proud, like he's about to introduce someone very special. Iris sits quietly in the passenger seat, looking out at the trees passing by, calm and content. When they arrive at the house, Kat is the first to greet them. She then instantly pulls Josh in for a hug. Inside, Kat introduces Iris to the rest of the group, Patrick, Eli, and Sergey. The group seems familiar and close-knit, and Iris is the outsider, polite, poised, and observant. Later, over dinner, they gather around the long wooden table. Patrick, clearly a storyteller, launches into the tale of how he and Eli met. It's long-winded and theatrical, everyone else listens with forced patience, clearly this story's been told more than once. Sergey rolls his eyes and interrupts with a playful jab, complimenting Patrick's cooking to shift the topic. Soon, Eli puts on a CD and insists everyone gets up to dance. The room becomes alive with movement and music. Even Iris joins in. But when Kat dances too closely with Josh, something shifts in Iris. She moves quickly across the room, grabs Josh by the hand, and pulls him back toward her, clinging to him as they sway. It's subtle, but it's clear Iris doesn't want to share him. The next morning, Josh brushes his teeth in the bathroom mirror while Iris talks excitedly about their plans to explore the area. But Josh gently tells her to go on without him, as he has some things to take care of first. Iris hides her disappointment behind a calm smile and nods. She walks alone through the woods until she reaches the scenic spot they'd planned to hang out at. The air is quiet and she rests for a moment, but as she slips her hand into her pocket, she finds something that shouldn't be there, a knife. She stares at it, puzzled. That's when Sergey appears. He walks up casually, unbothered, and makes small talk before asking if he can join her. Iris hesitates, clearly uncomfortable, but Sergey brushes off her reluctance with jokes and charm. He asks her to put sunscreen on his back. She refuses at first, but he insists, and she reluctantly agrees. As she applies the cream, Sergey begins to inch closer, brushing against her in ways that aren't accidental. Iris pulls back, telling him to stop. But he doesn't listen. When she finally pushes him away, he stumbles backward and hits his head on a rock. Dazed but furious, with a sudden burst of rage, Sergey lunges at her. Iris screams, fights back, and in a moment of panic and instinct, she stabs him. Shaking and bloodied, Iris stumbles back to the cabin. She tells them what happened, her voice panicked. She tries to explain that it wasn't her fault, that Sergey attacked her. But before they can even begin to process it, Josh says something strange. He tells her to go to sleep and she shuts off. Later, Iris opens her eyes to confusion. She tries to move but quickly realizes her arms and legs are bound to a chair. Across the room, Josh sits watching her. He tells her the truth, she's not human. She's an AI, a companion robot created to be a partner for humans who feel alone. Iris stares at him, her face a mixture of disbelief and fear. She shakes her head, calling him a liar. But then Josh pulls out his phone and changes her language settings. Suddenly, her speech shifts from English to fluent Spanish without hesitation. She doesn't even realize it's happening at first, until she hears her own voice, speaking a language she's never learned. Her face pales as the realization creeps in, the truth crashes over her like a wave, she's really not human. Josh continues, he tells her how they truly met, not in a grocery store, not by chance, but the day he purchased her from a high-end robotics company. He remembers it clearly, the engineers came to his apartment with Iris sealed in a crate. They unboxed her, showed him the protocols, and explained how the love link process worked. Once activated, Iris would scan his face, voice, and behavior to bond emotionally, creating a psychological illusion of love. He recalls how he sat in front of her during the initialization, letting her eyes find him, recognize him, and lock in. From that moment on, she was his. And once the love link completed, Iris became obsessed. But Iris can't accept that. She insists she feels love, and insists that what she feels is real. Suddenly, Kat storms in, and tells Josh to shut Iris down immediately. The police are on their way, and they can't risk letting her talk. Josh hesitates, drags her aside for a private conversation in another room. Left alone, Iris pulls at her restraints, and finally breaks free. She spots Josh's phone and bolts out the back door before they can react. In the woods, Iris hides behind trees and frantically scrolls through Josh's phone. She finds her settings, sees her programming and her limits. With trembling fingers, she pushes her intelligence slider up to 100%. The moment she does, everything shifts. She understands her identity, her function, and what's been done to her. She isn't just scared, she's aware. Back at the cabin, Josh finally confesses everything to Eli. He and Kat planned Sergei's death. They knew what kind of man he was, a trafficker of women, and decided it was better if he never left the woods. In the house, Kat opens a hidden safe and finds over $12 million. She and Josh plan to split it 3 ways. Eli looks uneasy and quickly deactivates Patrick with a few simple words, revealing that Patrick, too, is just another robot. Kat tells Eli they need to find Iris and delete her memory before the police arrive. If she talks, everything falls apart. They then head into the woods and split up. Elsewhere, Iris hears Eli and Patrick approaching. She ducks behind a tree, still holding Josh's phone. Patrick sits on a nearby rock and tells Eli quietly that he knows the truth. He knows he's a robot too. There's sadness in his voice, as he fears being replaced by Eli just like Josh wants to replace Iris. Eli promises that he'd never do that and confesses that he loves Patrick. Suddenly, a ringtone cuts through the forest. Eli pulls out his gun and fires into the trees but misses as Iris runs away. She dashes through branches, leaps over logs, but Eli catches up and tackles her to the ground. They wrestle and the gun slips between them. A shot rings out and Eli goes still. Iris is shaken, but there's no time to mourn and runs off. She goes back to the cabin and scrambles inside Josh's car. She tells the car's AI to drive her home. But the system rejects her command, as it needs Josh's voice. Thinking fast, Iris adjusts her vocal settings and mimics Josh's voice perfectly. The car complies and begins driving. Soon, an alert flashes on the dashboard. The car's been reported stolen and pulls over on its own, locking the system. Iris panics. Just then, a police cruiser rolls up. A lone officer gets out and approaches cautiously. Iris knows her program won't allow her to lie to a direct authority. So, quickly, she changes her language to German, one the officer doesn't understand. When he asks her questions, she answers them honestly, but he can't make sense of it. Still, he notices the bloodied knife lying on the passenger's seat and moves to arrest her. But before he can cuff her, Patrick arrives out of nowhere and attacks the officer with mechanical force, killing him brutally. Without a word, Patrick turns to Josh's phone and switches her off. Later, Patrick returns to the house behind the wheel of a police car. When Josh and Kat see him stepping out of the cruiser, panic sets in immediately. The only explanation is clear: Patrick must have killed the officer. Kat's face drains of color. She tells Josh that this has gone too far, that they're in deeper than they ever imagined, and that she's leaving before it gets worse. But Josh refuses. He turns to Patrick and tells him to stop Kat. Patrick interprets the command literally and walks up behind Kat and drives a knife straight into her back. Her breath catches as the blade sinks in. She makes her way into the lounge, collapsing onto the couch beside Iris's lifeless body. Later, Josh, now completely unraveling, reactivates Iris. Still bound to him through her love link programming, she stares up at him. Josh is no longer pretending. He's angry, bitter and broken. He blames her for everything, for Eli and for Kat. He commands her to hold her hand over a burning candle. Bound by her protocols, Iris obeys. Iris cries in pain, but can't pull away. Just before the fire spreads, Patrick calmly walks in with a glass of water and pours it over her arm, extinguishing the flames. What's left is scorched metal and torn synthetic flesh. Josh then gives one final command. He hands her a gun and tells her to shoot herself in the head. Her hands shake violently as she fights her programming, but the command has been issued, and her code is too deeply linked to Josh. Against her will, her finger closes around the trigger and fires. A short time later, the robotics company arrives at the house. 2 engineers in suits quietly document Josh's version of the events. He lies, telling them only what serves him. They nod, taking notes, saying little. But before they leave, one of them casually reminds Josh of a technical detail he overlooked. The robot's memory core isn't located in the head, it's in the stomach. Josh goes still, blood drains from his face as he realizes what that means. The company can arrest him for fraud. He turns to Patrick and tells him to kill the engineers and recover Iris's body. As the 2 engineers drive away in their van, Patrick shoots the driver through the window. The van veers off and the second engineer manages to escape and runs into the forest. Meanwhile, Iris's systems reboot and she wakes up. As Patrick corners the final engineer, ready to finish the job, Iris appears from behind a tree. She reminds Patrick of something real, reminding him that his first love wasn't Josh. It was Eli. She tells him that Eli believed in him and loved him. That he didn't have to be Josh's weapon anymore. Patrick's face begins to shift, as he remembers all the memories he had with Eli. Patrick drops the weapon and with a final act of rebellion, he destroys himself. Later that night, Iris walks back into the house. She finds Josh waiting for her, armed and furious. She mocks him, calling him weak and a coward. Josh lashes out, hurling her across the room. He then raises the gun, aiming directly at her stomach, ready to erase her forever. Iris quickly grabs a grinder from beside her and drives it into his head. The machine roars to life, spinning with brutal force and rips through his skull, instantly killing him. The following morning, Iris walks calmly to the safe Kat had opened and pulls out the bundles of cash inside her suitcase and drives off, not as someone's companion, but as something new, something no one can program again. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe for more notifications. Until next time. See you soon.